You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Co-host, Danny.
And fans, we have an interesting show for you today. We're going to really talk about the NBA playoffs. Let's get to it, man. So, Danny, last night, the Boston Celtics went ahead and went up 2-0 against the Brooklyn Nets when they won 114-107. This is the series that we were really looking forward to. Seems like Boston is handling them defensively, especially. And where there's double teams happening on Durant and all. But, man, I did not necessarily anticipate or expect the Boston Celtics to be up 2 games. What say you?
Jason, this one could easily be 2-0 Brooklyn. So Sunday's game, Boston hits the last-second shot on that sweet spin by Jason Tatum, where Brooklyn battled back and took the lead, and I thought it was over. Kyrie played a great game, and they just fell short. KD didn't have his best game. And then last night, they just went cold in that fourth quarter. I think they had 2 points. I believe it was like 5 minutes into the quarter or 7 minutes into the quarter. They only had 2 points, and Boston just all of a sudden got on fire and locked them down and took that 2-0 series lead, man. That's tough for Brooklyn because they easily could be up 2-0. But we'll see when now they're going to Brooklyn and see how they react and respond.
Do you think that with Boston Celtics and the defense that they have put on Durant, in terms of how hard they deny Durant the ball and the amount of minutes that both Durant and Kyrie plays, do you think that is really the ultimate reason why Durant is struggling?
I think it's that, but I think it's also they're not getting the support from the supporting cast. Bruce Brown is playing pretty well, but they need a couple other guys to chip in and give them some points and take some of that pressure off KD. But sometimes I think KD's trying to force it and do things he shouldn't, and he's not trusting his teammates in some cases. Where a couple times last night he turned the ball over and people were open, but he was trying to force the issue. So I don't know. I think they'll make some adjustments, and I think they come out guns blazing game 3 because they'll be at home.
And there are reports that in game 4, Ben Simmons is actually going to play. I don't know what Ben Simmons is going to really be able to offer. That's going to be interesting. This is his first time in close to a year that he has played. So we'll see how that really shakes out. But just as I'm looking at the bracket here for the NBA playoffs, we talked about the Boston-Brooklyn Nets series. Let's go to our Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls series, and where the Bulls pulls out a shocker in Milwaukee. And Danny, this is just really interesting. 114-110 Bulls make it out. DeRozan goes for 41 points. Giannis 33 points, 18 rebounds, 9 assists. But unfortunately, Chris Middleton comes down with a knee injury, an MCL sprain, which reports are that he'll be out approximately 3 weeks. And just as we're talking about how the Celtics are really playing some great defense in the bracket here, Milwaukee could play the winner of the Milwaukee-Chicago Bulls series. I'm taking Milwaukee, of course. The winner of the Milwaukee Bulls series will actually play the winner of the Boston-Brooklyn series, but with Chris Middleton possibly being out for 3 weeks. So, Danny, what say you about this Bulls-Bucks series?
Jason, truth be told, Chicago should have won game one too. They they missed a lot of easy shots in that game. Both sides are ugly in that game one.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night, Milwaukee just seemed lethargic watching that game. And then all of a sudden they turned it on in the quarter. They usually struggle in the third quarter. They're down 16, and then all of a sudden they went on that run
Mm-hmm.
and came close. And then Chicago made some key plays down the stretch. Vucevic hit some key shots. DeRozan hit a lot of big shots. Now they're tied, and I'm curious to see how Milwaukee adjusts with Middleton out, and then how Chicago plays them defensively with Middleton out.
I'm gonna say this, Danny. I think what we'll see, we'll probably see more of a smaller lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks, a little bit more agile lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly see the likes of Bobby Porter starting, and ultimately maybe Brooke not play as many minutes. I'm just not a fan of Wesley Matthews starting. I know that he's starting for defensive purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there's something about
big shots though last night, Jay. He did hit a couple big shots. I understand where you're going, but
yeah, I think Coach Bud is probably just playing around with, do I start Connaughton? Do I start Grayson Allen in that position? Do I need a little more scoring pop? Do I need a little bit more? I think it depends upon the matchups themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just not a Wesley Matthews fan in terms of starting itself. I wouldn't mind them seeing, playing Ibaka a little bit more, man. I think we'll be fine in this series. I'm concerned about the next series. And if Middleton is out 3 weeks, since he's out 3 weeks, with the playoff schedule, it kind of extends out.
Yep.
So depending upon how long this series goes, and I initially indicated this would either be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, which means that this could go into the middle of next week. Yep. So that gives Middleton 1 week. This Brooklyn-Boston Celtics series, I don't think is going to, man, how many games do you think that series is going, Danny?
I think it could go 6. If Brooklyn wins tomorrow night or the next game, I think it goes 6.
So let's say it goes
Brooklyn
6.
Loses, it's probably 5. I think Brooklyn still gets a game no matter what, because they've been way too close to not get one.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm looking at schedule here. And let's say Brooklyn Boston series go to 6 games. Game 6 is on Friday, April 29th. So that is a week.
Yep.
And a day from now. So this gives Middleton a week. So we still got 2 more weeks. So it's really possible that, and the same thing for the Bulls Bucks series. Game 6 is on that Friday as well. That only gives them a week. So he's talking about 2 more weeks. So it could be possible that Middleton actually misses the next round in the playoffs.
Yes. Yep. Based on timing.
Just based on timing. Do you think the Bucks can win against the Celtics or the Brooklyn Nets without Middleton?
The one thing too with Boston, they may get Robert Williams back too. So that gives them another agile, big body defender to put on Giannis, or at least stay in front of Giannis. So I think they can get Brooklyn. But Boston's, I think, a tougher matchup just due to depth. That's what I'm looking at.
I can see that.
It'll be close though, man, because Middleton, he's one of those guys, man. He can create his own shot, and he can bail them out of situations when they're stagnant. And they need a bucket, or teams are all over Giannis, obviously, he opens up the
Right.
court. So they can pack it in now on Giannis if this is the case.
But man, just to be out 3 weeks and to come
Mm-hmm.
back in, he gonna be rusty.
Yep.
And he probably just have to rely upon, defense. And that's 3 weeks if he's doing good,
Mm-hmm.
if he's ready to go. It's gonna be something else, man. We'll see what happens. But I think you start to think about a Jordan Noah who can score. I think you're gonna have to probably have him really start to be in there getting some reps, man. And then Danny, last night the Philadelphia 76ers went into Toronto and on a game-winning shot by Joel Embiid, they win 104-101 in overtime. Embiid has 33 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, a game winner. What say you about this series, Danny?
Well, Toronto had that game. I don't know what happened. They were up, I believe they're up 17 or so. And Philadelphia just went on that mad run, man, and blitzed them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had them under control. The game was Toronto had them. They were at home, had the home crowd behind them. And then all of a sudden they just fell apart in that second half. And then Philly was trying to give the game away in that overtime. There were some questionable plays they had tried to execute. And then they got lucky and Embiid hit that shot. This one's a wrap. I think Philly goes ahead and wraps this up. But Toronto had their chances to at least steal a game here. But Embiid is looking tough, man. And if Philly can get some rest for him heading to that second round, that'll be huge. So quicker the better, usually in the playoffs. So you can get that rest.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. I had this series all wrong, man. I actually picked Toronto to win. Toronto had some injuries, but nonetheless, I didn't really think that Philly was going to come out like this and so I had this actually wrong. But I will tell you this: what's going to be interesting is Philly in this next round against Miami, because I don't see Atlanta Hawks overtaking Miami at this point. That series, Miami and Philadelphia, is going to be a hell of a series. But I also think that Harden is going to get pounded on defensively. And so I see Miami advancing against Philadelphia going to the conference finals. But Danny, in the Western Conference, Devin Booker gets injured as well, hamstring issue. Seems like he's going to be out for a period of time as well. People always talk about the what if scenario. Well, if he hadn't been injured, you wouldn't have gotten the ring. If he was shoe size smaller, y'all wouldn't have advanced, and therefore y'all wouldn't have won the ring, i.e. Brooklyn and KD against the Bucks, right?
Yep.
But you can't really say that, man, because you have some of the greats who can say just the same thing. I remember, when was it, back in 89 with Magic with the hamstring issue. Magic could have said the same thing, but he decided, no, I mean, you just can't do that. And I'll say this, Danny, injuries and being healthy is part of the actual journey to a championship.
Yep.
That's part of it. That's part of, yes, the 82 games in the regular season, but it's also part of you being healthy to participate in the championship run, or being injured like Giannis was last year. But yeah, he came back and he was part of the journey to the championship run. So this is going to be interesting. Devin Booker, hamstring issue. They lost to the New Orleans Pelicans, man. Yeah. And I did not see that one coming. Man. Brandon Ingram just put on a show. Yes, 37 points, 11 boards, 9 assists. And New Orleans wins 125-114. That was back on Tuesday. So series is tied 1-1 going back to New Orleans, man. What say you?
Brandon Ingram has been playing some great basketball during this stretch where New Orleans got into the play-in tournament, got through the play-in tournament now playing Phoenix. And CJ McCollum, man, that's with having his veteran leadership there to more or less mentor Ingram. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I'm not saying they're going to take Phoenix, but having CJ McCollum there is huge. And they're playing with house money at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time a lot of those guys have been in the playoffs. You know, CJ McCollum has been there. He knows that journey. So that's huge for that locker room. And I'm curious to see how this game goes, this next game back in New Orleans, and how Phoenix responds without Devin Booker, and how New Orleans responds coming off that big win.
Danny, the Memphis Grizzlies and Timberwolves, man, the game is tonight. Game number 3 back in Minnesota. Man, this is going to be interesting game, man. I was hoping that the Timberwolves wouldn't come out flat and satisfied with just getting the game in Memphis, but that's what they did, man. 124-96, Memphis wins on Tuesday night. And man, it just didn't seem like it was a lot of pushback, a lot of force from Minnesota, but nonetheless, man, game 3 is tonight. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to this series.
Yes.
We'll see what happens tonight. I have been going towards Memphis to win the series. But man, Minnesota can do something special here. Yes. They can do something special. And I think this game 3 is going to be gritty as hell. It's going to be scrappy.
Yep.
And it's going to be full of emotion because it's in Minnesota and the fans have been really wanting this for some time. What say you?
It seemed like Minnesota drove up to Nashville, kicked it that night before the game because they were flat. They had no juice. I mean, they just looked disheveled. They looked like they had never been there before. And Memphis took full advantage of it. Kudos to them for doing that, man. John Moran had a great game. The team stepped up. Tonight will show this game is pivotal in this series. Minnesota has to come out and show. And Karl-Anthony Towns did not have a great game in game 2. So they need some consistency out of him as well. As he is the leader. I know Ann is my guy, Anthony Edwards, but this team goes as Karl-Anthony Towns goes. If he doesn't show up and he does this whole I got 4 fouls in the third quarter thing again, they're in trouble.
It's a wrap.
Yep. So I'm very interested in this game tonight as well. Can't wait to see how Minnesota responds after getting punched in the mouth.
And lastly, Warriors, Nuggets, Danny. This series is going to be interesting. Warriors up 2-0. They are going to be playing in Denver this evening. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be that get back scenario and dog that I see Denver getting. If this is going to be a gentleman's sweep series wise, I think this is the game that the Denver Nuggets actually get, quite honestly. So this is going to be an interesting game just to kind of see how the Warriors actually come out. It's going to be interesting to see how Denver comes out at home. So what say you, Danny?
Jason, game 2, Denver started off and they're on fire. And they had Golden State down big in the first half. And then all of a sudden, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Clay, everybody, it was just like Denver just got, they were like, what happened? They went up from being up like 16 to down 16 in a blink of an eye. And Steph Curry was hitting shots. He wasn't even looking at the rim. 4-point plays. Jordan Poole was sitting out there shaking cats and then hitting open threes. That's the Golden State everyone is scared of. When they're like that and they're hitting on all cylinders, there's no one that can beat them playing like that. But did they put too much, spend a lot of energy coming back in that game to see how and we'll see how they respond tonight. Denver is at home, and Jokic didn't have his best game the other day, so I'm curious how he plays tonight. But I think Denver has I think being at home, I think it'll calm them down in that, with the elevation and all that good stuff too. So
Yep.
I see them I think they can take this game tonight. But if Poole is the one,
Mm-hmm.
and once he gets going, the whole team responds. And that's what happened. And then Steph just followed right behind him. And then it was just both of them were going, you're not touching them. So all these games, Jason, these late hours, man, are killing me, man. But I got to watch it because there's some good games.
Some good games, man. There's some good games. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.